Can you hear me all right?
I can.
Good. Likewise. Good to meet you.
All right. That's fine.
So yeah, I on some of these interviews, it's usually one-sided where you get to talk without me going mm-hmm, and asking too many questions in between. So sometimes when you're telling a story from back then, I won't interrupt and add things because I'm not in the film myself or my voice.
Oh yeah, I see the picture of me too. That's good.
Yeah, great. So how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good.
Yes, in fact, Saturday I did a music workshop for kids at our local library.
Oh, fun.
I brought my instruments and they joined me. That was good.
That's fabulous. Well, when's the last time you were up in this neck of the woods?
For the uh, Children's Spontaneous Music Workshop 21st anniversary.
Oh,
We all got together and we had a great time. We brought instruments, we played music, and just hung out for 2 days. It was really great.
oh, that's great. I didn't know there was one.
Yeah, Nancy was there.
Oh, okay. Well, see, that's probably before I had joined the program and all. I'm excited about the spontaneous music and how that emerged, and where you got that idea from, because it's been a calling since back then, and it continues to be active in your life.
Oh yeah, for sure it does. Um, I don't know how much of a conversation you had with Christopher, but a long time ago in the '60s, I had a film society in LA. Christopher was renting from me at a cabin right next door, and basically I saw what he was doing, and also I went with him to a Waldorf school,
Oh,
or not a Waldorf school, but a Steiner-inspired residential school for kids with special problems. And so that was kind of the beginning of my thinking about music and working with kids. And eventually I gave up the film thing and just went full blast into the music. And I became Christopher's roadie and manager. So we drove around with his huge collection of instruments, and I heard hundreds of concerts. And we went to Los Angeles, San Francisco, New York, and then he went on to Europe. So those were the early inspirations for me. Definitely came from that.
nice. Because your work is infused with not only spontaneity but ritual. It seems to have come from you, the and Christopher, I guess, the respect of the instruments, the Persian carpet.
Oh,
Right.
well, I did. I got some of my aesthetic because I worked. This was later after Vancouver. I worked in Israel in a circus, in a family circus, and I noticed how they always made the space their own, put their carpets down, and I still do that. The other day, working with the kids, I bring this lovely carpet in, and then that's our magic space to work from.
Wow.
And I just like to say also, in terms of beginnings, um, Charles Justice's mother is called Wanda Justice. Do you know her?
I've seen her in the film.
Oh, okay, good.
Yes.
Well, she ran a school for kids with special needs on the British Columbia University campus. I guess it was a kind of a laboratory type of thing, and she was a big help in us getting the grants that we got so that we could, well, continue the program and make it more professional. We're going to call it that, but continue the program, buy instruments, and really just feel free to take the whole thing as far as we felt. So, yeah.
That's really neat. Yes, she seemed instrumental in getting that set up
Mm-hmm.
at Berwick. I think it was at UBC.
Yeah.
Right. Ah, and so when did you meet like Nancy and Carolyn?
In terms of when, I don't remember
Hmm.
exactly, but this is the interesting thing, the bit of advice that Wanda gave me. When I was first working on the grant, she said to me very vehemently, don't ask for the grant yourself. They don't want to do all that paperwork with just one person. Ask it for a lot of people who are doing something together. And so I had known, especially Shelley was doing a program in the parks. Uh, Carolyn, I forget how I met her exactly, but I was going around doing different musical therapy programs on my own, and of course meeting people that were in the same field and so forth. But then when Wanda gave me that bit of advice, then I, how could you say, enriched my experiences with them and say, look, this is something that might happen. What do you think about it? And so it was around the time we got the grant. So I would say sometime in '71 is my guess, something like that. It's I don't know if you know the program. It's called Opportunities for Youth, and it was a federally funded program. That's how we started off.
Yes. Um, Shirley Chan, who was with the Health and Welfare Canada, had supported one of the grants. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if you know the name. I
Oh,
I think when with one of the children's workshops, I think you're in it. Well, you are in it. Anyway, she had supported the funding for it, and I met her recently and talked to her about why she had supported the funding
mm-hmm.
and all. And she,
Well, I think we were doing something worthwhile in the community, and they liked that. One of my favorite memories of it all was when we were going to get our grant renewed from uh, the how could you say the departmental state government in Victoria. I forget the Canadian name for it, but anyway, instead of going there in person and bringing there with paperwork, we had over the period of time of the actual 1,000 kids we worked with, we picked five that worked with armed youth in particularly very well. And there were three boys from Alder Lodge, kind of I don't know if you know, but it was a place for kids with special problems. Two girls were from Juvenile Hall, and also a boy, a Native American boy. But anyway, we went over to Victoria and simply did a mini concert for the people on that committee for the department and district, I guess you'd call it. And they approved it right away there. And so that was a very memorable experience for me doing that.
that's fabulous. I met Shelley a couple months ago and interviewed her, and she had a few old pictures, and I think on a boat maybe going to one of the islands to do music.
Yeah, we went from Vancouver to Victoria by boat, as far as I remember.
Oh, okay. So that was
And
that trip.
the thing that I liked about it was we had our instruments tucked away, but as soon as the ferry pulled away, we all brought out our instruments and started playing music.
That's
Listen, remember to save things like that for me. I would love to see that at some point.
I will. I have them. I have scanned them, so I have copies of her originals.
Okay.
So we'll have to figure out a way. I can send you them on an email address of some
All right.
kind if you.
Yeah, my landlady receives emails for me, so we can do it that way.
Okay.
The only thing we just have to discuss is the how many gigabytes it takes. I don't know if it takes a lot of.
I don't think they're very large, but I'd
We'll
have.
see.
Yeah,
We'll work it out.
but
Okay.
definitely, I was surprised she had pictures from
Yeah.
Dan.
Yeah. So, and then the other thing I just wanted to mention because I felt it was so great. I don't know how much any of the other people have told you, but every Friday we had three of us had a lovely house in North Vancouver. Every Friday we opened our doors all day long. Any handicapped and disadvantaged kids in Vancouver. And we had a swimming pool there. We had food and our instruments set up. And kids came from all over to play with us.
Mm.
Kids didn't know, turning up with their parents and whatever, you know. So I thought that was really nice to really invite the community in like that. I enjoyed it.
I didn't know that. That's fabulous.
Yeah. So
And then, so that's how you met Christopher, and oh, you would have met Charles through Wanda.
that's right. But yes, and he eventually became part of our group. He was one of the people in the group. Yeah.
That makes sense. Um, Now I saw you on YouTube
Oh, good.
months
Yeah.
back. I wrote a note, but I didn't know if anyone was watching it. I say, "Oh, hi! It's we're doing this film
Uh-huh.
and all this." Um,
My oldest son takes care of that for me, and sometimes he thinks to call me if he gets a message, and he's in the middle of moving house now, so he may have not been paying attention.
yeah, that's okay. Yeah,
So you see where I live now, and yeah, that's my studio there. And, yeah.
it's beautiful. It's a fabulous setting. So, what do you think of how the spontaneous music concept turned into music therapy, which is sometimes a lot more structured, depending on someone's approach? And
I just, well, how it turned into it, it was always my, how could you say, initial experience to open myself completely. I'm talking about children because most of the time I'm working with children. To open myself to the children where they were at and not to lay a trip on them. And also because I have that bias of really aiming for something artistic. And so if it was going to be genuine, a lot of these kids didn't have that acculturation or, let's say, mainstream music, but they could easily play some of them could easily play our music. And in fact, one of the boys in our special group, I felt he was a much better musician than I was. His instinct was just always so right on. And many times he would just start off playing something and we all join in with him. So I felt that made it a, how could you say, an experience that nobody had ever had before, that we were creating something that was just special for us and that was really new, you know. So that was my feeling about the spontaneous music. We would go into a different world, you know. It allowed us so much freedom to play like that. And I will say also, I am a great believer in the power of the gong. And the gongs, in and of themselves, they have an open-endedness. And yes, you have to kind of follow their tones and see where they're leading you. You know, yeah. So that was, I think, that was my strong feeling about the spontaneity. For example, um, a long time ago, when I was still working with Christopher, he got a gig once um, playing on the New York ferry as a kind of a welcoming to all the people from the UN, all the families of the UN. This was the city of New York thanking them for being there and adding to the community. And it was one of the few times I ever played with him because it was a real relaxed, informal situation on the boat. But what I loved was that all the people walking by, they always had to ask us, what country are you guys from? What kind of music is this? You know, and I thought, well, that's a good place to begin from, you know, that you're creating something special of that nature. Yeah. And I also felt that was really healing. You know, the kids really, it was really their music. And I mean, the one thing I have to emphasize is that once we had chosen this group, we had permission from the different institutions that they were in to rehearse with them 3 hours every week. And what that meant was that we could get used to the instruments. We could play the ones we were good at and had special talents at, and even not play the ones we weren't so good at. You know what I mean? And just also, the whole thing I was trying to do all the time was to get the kids to listen to one another. To me, that was the whole point. To slow yourself down, listen. You know, somebody else would have energy and you could feel, okay, I can follow that. Or even not play. That's the great thing about spontaneity. You don't have to play. If you don't hear anything you like, just sit and wait till something comes up, you know. And, yeah. And, I mean, just as an example, that little presentation we did over in Victoria for the mental health group, one of the girls I had out of the people in Ottawa wanted us when we were traveling with kids over there to stay at a regular hotel because the kids were from these institutions. It definitely made sense. And I looked up at one moment, and one of the two girls from the juvenile hall was gone. And I thought, uh-oh. But I went out on the street. She had been a poet, and she'd even written lyrics for Joni James. Or she had some problems with psychedelic drugs or something like that, you know. And that's the reason she was there. But the next day, we did the presentation for these folks. I'm sorry, I forget the name. We could look it up sometime. I remember the black girl, her name was Drum. It's her nickname and her regular name. But the other girl, at any rate, she just played exquisitely on home to the extent that I couldn't play with her. It seemed like she was doing everything that needed to be done herself. And moreover, one of the other fellows in the staff, John, the fellow that lives in Flagstaff, he was very ill, laying kind of backstage. And her playing witnessed it. It just drew him right up, standing up, and he came out on stage and he played the flute with her. And I tell you, I just was completely awestruck by the whole thing. You know, I mean, that was the kind of beauty we were trying to reach all the time. You know. So anyway,
Wow.
memory from those times.
It's wonderful. It,
did
it,
we did look clinically, you know, the staff and all these places, they would show us the particular problems any child would have, and yeah, you know, so we did look at those things, but all of those things seemed to take care of themselves. And then the final wrinkle in the whole thing was our group, we mainly went to other institutions for the blind, institutions for other kids that were having some kind of problems, even, you know, senior homes and places like that. You know, so they could get to that point where an audience could have, you know, a really deep experience with them. And then how could you say, the good feeling of it being all spontaneous like that. You know, we didn't have anything. But, I don't know if those kids could have even done anything like that or wanted to. This way, it was like pretty free and easy, and they could just wander up, they sit down for a few minutes if that's what they felt like doing. You know, and, yeah.
it's truly wonderful. I think it's a quality. You know, it stayed infused in this training at Capilano, and I think it's unique compared to many music therapy programs that really emphasize honoring that from the child. Maybe Nordoff and Robbins, that style, but
Yeah.
a lot of them are very behavioral, and it it has it has remained intact. I don't think it's remained intact as largely as it could, really, um, in today's, you know, structure and all these desires to make it more clinical. Um, though, you know, in I think of it in my work in mental health. Um, Someone will come to do rap, and
Oh yeah.
I do the same idea where there's no censoring of what they bring. It's
Mhm.
it's whatever they've written, or if they freestyle it, I don't, you know, shut them down about what the lyrics are, and then I'll ask questions afterwards, or what's the song called, and
Mhm.
as
Yeah, yeah.
as they work on their insight. But yeah, we finally learned to not edit them all, and you know, finger wag at them about what they're supposed to do and all.
And I also was trying to give them an experience in the sense of having just dim lighting. So we weren't self-conscious, especially when they were playing for other groups. And there was plenty of places where they could go and sit out of the way, you know, if that was a problem, but it wasn't. They were sure of themselves because when we were doing these rehearsals, we would talk about things, how you play this or that instrument, you know, things of that nature. You want to get a little bit more into it and so forth. You know. And just from just for your own interest, I would say that later on, I went to Israel and we did a very successful light show there. And when I say light show, I'm talking about a pre-electric acoustic light show, really from the 50s. That Christopher was part of, and I've never actually seen but heard of. And I, many times in my life, I tried to recreate that for myself. So, at any rate, um, we decided we had been doing things in school, sort of performances, and we had made a contact with a woman who was running all the facilities in Israel. And I thought, I wonder what it would be like for these kids to use the color, because it's a very strong phenomenon. The screens are 10 feet by 10 feet. And again, we don't use any images at all. It's just moving colors. And the colorists listening to the music, and the musicians listening to watching the colors on the screen and playing with it. And many times we also had a dancer special technique with that as well. But I was amazed how well children responded to that. And again, the staff would say to us, we've never seen children sit still for so long and pay attention to something. And I think it's because there was no acculturation. They didn't need to know about Rembrandt, this kind of art, that kind of art. They could just see the beauty of the moving color, and they could tell that the colorist and musician were working together, you know. And here in my town, went to a small H club. Children were allowed to come in and play music with us with the light show. A lot of times we couldn't do that. We were just big.
Okay.
But I hold on for a minute.
Yeah.
Some noise here.
Yeah. I'm just picking that up.
Hold on. Oh yeah, it's over now. So let's hope that doesn't. Maybe they're working on the road or something.
Oh,
like
okay.
that. So at any rate, I just pass that along because I do believe, you know, it's a beautiful thing. And in Israel also, I was involved in a kind of a laboratory experiment using music and color and dance with kindergarten and preschool children. The theory was if you concentrated a lot of energy on them when they were young like this, then it would help them later on better than doing it when they were older, and better than doing it when each music, color, and dance thing was separate, you know. And I never found out what the outcome was. I was just a musician there, and the children played with me, and they went to the painting thing, you know, that they were doing, or the dancing. They just moved between us, so I only was in on it, but I never found out what the results were. But I think color is very interesting added aspect to the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. It does seem a shame how we parcel out every expressive art into different, approaches, like you said, and different disciplines, and rather than each person doing the one thing, why not blend them together and open up expression? And starting early makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think they had a success with that. I think I think the children did do better. I don't know how you do it. You have one other group that doesn't do it, and so. But at any rate, I'm sure they had a good time. Anyway, so that was good. Yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's really great to think of those days now. When my youngest son was born, just as the group began, he's 45 now.
Wow.
And I also would like to just say later on, in fact, right after I left Canada, I went down into Mexico, into southern Mexico, San Cristobal de las Casas in Chiapas. And there I continued doing light shows eventually, but mainly when I first arrived there, all around the town are what's called the Highlands, and their indigenous people live there. They're at that time, which was in the 70s, they were the most untouched large groups of indigenous people in Mexico. And I went basically to their Sunday markets, and I set up my instruments, and they came and played music with me. It took a long time, usually, I mean, it was usually all day because of the way their mind worked, and also sometimes some of the white folks that lived there, the grocers and stuff, they felt this was all for them, so it took them a little while to work through what they needed out of it. But slowly, people would join in, and I really got a lot out of that, feedback-wise. And I should say I ended up having a little business with John, the other fellow in the group. We bought and sold indigenous musical instruments. They made by hand harps, violins, guitars, and I learned a lot from listening to their music, and often hired them for parties because everybody just could enjoy themselves with them, you know. Yeah, so that was a continuation, and we worked there. We did a beautiful light show for the governor there, an opening of a new facility for tourists. And yeah, that was the beginning of really the light show for me, in the sense of, how could you say, wanting to be responsible for the whole thing, music and the colors and so forth. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. But I guess talk more about Canada.
It's all good. Wow. This is going to be sweet. Oh, I was going to ask you then, and I put your name on the screen, you know, Micheal Fless. Is there a title or series of titles you'd like to be known by? I know you've done film and music. You know, is there?
I do, yes. Lately, I've been using the title Sahaja, Sahaja, and that means spontaneous in Sanskrit. And that I did here in Humboldt County. I did a light show, as I told you, this acoustic light show, for 7 years here with my two partners, Jennifer and Gordy, husband and wife. He did the liquid light projection, and she did this amazing color shadow dance where she's behind the screen. We have 3 lights to a 45-degree angle, one straight behind her, and on the screen you get 3 colored images from her one image, the complementary color to the light. Yeah. And to get the point of talking. Oh, so we were using the name Sahaja for that presentation, and then I asked them when I continued on my own if I could continue to use it, and they said yes. So that's what I've been using when I do presentations. Yeah.
Okay. So should I put that Micheal Fless, comma Sahaja, or musician,
No,
film? Yeah.
I think you should just use Micheal Fless, because that was my name. I like to use the name Children's Spontaneous Music Workshops for the period in Canada, because first of all, I like the rhythm of all the words together. That's what we were really doing. No, Sahaja is just for more performance type things that I did later.
Sure.
You know, I think I just used Micheal Fless.
Okay.
Children's Spontaneous Music Workshops. Yeah.
Is it okay to show a clip from YouTube of you playing?
Sure.
today? I thought I'd check.
Sure.
That's
It's the thing is, I just would like it to at some point. How could you say it was meant to be a documentary of me practicing. It's not meant to be a finished
right.
performance type thing, So
Sure.
just so, and that's why I use those subtitles that I use, to just get the idea across.
Okay. That sounds good. So I'm going to
So
get you a copy of the film
yeah.
from the library and post that to you.
Oh, good. Now you're talking about the one that was on Canadian Broadcasting. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes,
The one that Nancy has.
that's right.
Okay, good.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I would love to see
Yeah,
that.
I know the library at Capilano has it. I've only seen part of the segment, so
Uh,
I'll go copy that.
to me, I think you should see it all because I was thinking and thinking if I if there was nothing written, no interview, nothing like that, I believe that film would show what it was. In fact, there are scenes in that film, as I remember, on the boat. You know, I
Really?
yeah, I love. I think in the very beginning, as I remember, I love the fact that again, the people on the boat didn't know. How could you say where we were from or what country the music was from? I mean, a couple of the boys couldn't even speak, but I didn't feel why say anything? They're just musicians, you know what I mean? And at any rate, what are you going to explain? But I love that aspect. You know, I when I'm joking, sometimes I tell them it's pre-Atlantean music.
Oh, that's nice. I've got to see this. I haven't seen it all.
Oh yeah, you definitely should see it. Mm. And in a way, I could see you enjoying it more, seeing it with Nancy or Carolyn or Shelley or all of them. Because I think you'll get some feeling of their remembering that. Oh, the only thing I will say is don't use anything from the other film unless you let me know what it's going to be. I mean, I think there was a kind of a clash of egos there. That guy was very interested in film,
Oh,
technically.
right. I don't know
You know,
where that film is, but
well, maybe.
Carolyn has said how terrible it is too.
Oh, good, good, good. Well, anyway, so that's the one because, and then I was very concerned with having what we were doing presented in a certain way, and he just didn't get that at all. He thought
Yes.
we were so happy that he was doing. But anyway, the other one I think is if, for example, my children never saw any other artifact from that time, I would be perfectly happy if they saw that film and they would see, what I'm doing. My two daughters are doing things that are similar, or did, put it that way, And I've even, my older daughter is a Montessori teacher in Washington, D.C., and I've gone into the school and done things with the kids there a couple of times. I've enjoyed myself. So.
That's fabulous. Gosh. Yeah, I don't know where that film is. It must be collecting dust somewhere. I I did a search on the National Film Board site and nothing even turns
Oh,
up.
but it's in the library, you say. And Carolyn also has it. I
Mm.
don't know if she has it up in Canada with her, but I don't know how much she's moved everything up there. But she was the one I saw the film at her
Oh,
house in Santa Barbara, Ohio or Santa Barbara, I forget. At any rate, when she was living down there, that's where I saw it. Yeah, it'd be nice to see that again. And then don't forget. Well, this is maybe, but I would love to see the raw material from this as well.
absolutely.
Yeah, just because I might put more information on on that same YouTube site. Just for my kids.
Sure. Sure, I'll send you all these goodies.
Yeah, that's it. I can't really. Did you have any other particular questions?
Um, no, I had a little list, but I can't think of anything else.
Okay.
Um,
I'm just looking at my. Good. Yeah. Good. All right. Well, if you're satisfied, I mean, we can do this again if
that's true.
more.
We've got time. The event isn't until September 30th,
Uh,
so we'll be.
oh, and I would like to September 30th. I would love to see even when you get your finished copy of the documentary. And tell me this. So, is there a title to this film that you're making?
Um, we don't have a very fixed title. We were trying not to have something really wordy, um, but no, not yet. Uh, Maybe you have an idea.
Well, I'd have to see it first,
Yeah.
but I'm sure I've come up with an idea. Yeah. Well, I don't know what the film is going to be. It's celebrating the 40th anniversary of that department, so it isn't necessarily about exclusively about what we were doing up there.
Well, in a lot of ways it is. It's not
Okay.
about anything subsequent hardly.
Oh yeah.
It's really about how the idea began, what those early days were like. We don't talk about, the bachelor degree that came along later or research or whatever.
Right, right.
I'm really trying to keep it focused so it's very fitting. Um, it, if there's anything past the very first year of the program, it's just how two of the instructors are from the first cohort, but the rest is all about how the idea came into being and how they met you and Charles Justice and
Yeah.
hitchhiking with Shelley and you know.
Oh yeah, don't forget that's another great thing when we went into the Kootenays.
Oh
That's a fantastic trip there to see the Doukhobor people. That was really great. Yeah. So I mean, I can't remember any particular things about that, but that was a really good tour.
hmm yeah
So and you know, just off the top of my head, uh, if it was up to me, knowing the little I know right now, I would love to just see it titled Children's Spontaneous Music Workshops. But maybe that's too narrow. I don't know, exactly. And the other person you say two is Carolyn and Nancy were the two. Is that correct? That were at
right
the beginning?
right
Yeah. Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, so I always loved that title because I felt it was so inclusive, and yeah, anyway, and it said exactly what we were doing, which was good too.
yes
Okay,
it's a good title.
but that's just one suggestion. So when things do come closer to being together, I would love to see even a rough cut, whatever.
Sure.
Are you going to do the editing yourself?
I'm doing it with a couple of colleagues who are better at editing those kinds of things than I
Good.
am, and we're creating some music for it. And
Oh, good, good.
it's actually, it'll probably be like an hour and 15 or 20 minutes long, because we
I
actually
see.
have quite a bit of juicy material. So
Oh,
it's
good.
it's going to be exciting. It's,
Oh, well, that seems like quite a long film. And then where do you expect to show the film?
well, we're going to have a gala for all the graduates and such that for the community on that day. We'll probably show it at a conference next year. I'm not sure what
Oh,
else. Uh, Maybe maybe they'll put it on a website. I don't know if it's too long to for them to put on YouTube or. or something. We're not selling it. But we do want to show it because
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
exciting times.
Well, you might get the Canadian broadcasting folks to um, to do it just as a follow up to the film they made all those years ago.
Yes.
Even don't do the whole thing.
Don't mind me. I'm just taking bread out of the oven.
Okay. No,
There we go.
oh, yeah, that's
Yeah,
great.
they might be interested in picking up
Yeah, yeah.
on
Well,
that.
good, good.
Um,
All right.
yeah,
Well,
there's you and Shelley and Carolyn, Nancy. Hopefully Charles, any minute now. They're trying to film him up in Prince Rupert,
oh, okay, good, good. Yeah, I
and
just talked.
then I'll try another kick at the cat with Christopher to get him on a similar.
Okay. And then I just mentioned to you, it depends if you want to. Uh, we have John Marcus down in Flagstaff, Arizona, who is part of the group.
Okay.
He's in France right now, but he'll probably phone me when he gets back.
Oh, all right.
He
He
has another insight into the whole thing.
ah he wouldn't be in Paris, would he?
He is going to spend a little bit of time in Paris, depending on how the situation is.
Okay, I'm going there on Sunday,
Oh, yeah.
so I could always interview him in person.
He's going to be renting a car and driving down south. He and I had a beautiful light show studio in the foothills of the Pyrenees in France.
Wow.
And his wife, Carmen, did the liquid light projection there. And so he's going down there to look at what we built. We built a beautiful stone studio down there.
Wonderful.
So
Goodness.
if you want, I can give you his telephone number and you can get in touch with him.
Sure. Yeah, I'm going to be in Paris on Sunday.
Yeah,
So,
great. Well, I doubt if I could look up something that fast.
no, no. I'll be there 3 weeks though. So,
Oh, you'll be the first 3 weeks, huh?
so it might be possible to talk to him, interview him while we're in the same country.
Well, okay. I'll think about it. But I
Yeah.
don't even know how to begin. Well, all right. All right. Well, I'll think about it. See
Sure.
if it's simple. I got a feeling it's going to be simpler to do it out of Flagstaff.
Probably.
All right. Okay, good. So, anything else comes up, you got my telephone number, and it was nice chatting with you.
Very nice. I am so appreciative. Thank you. Thank you for all you've done and for what you're
Good.
doing.
All right. And we're going to have a lovely, I'm going to have an 80th birthday party here on November 11th.
Oh,
My kids are coming from the East Coast, and my grandkids, and I'm going to do a Chinese fairy tale done as shadow puppets, for which I play the music for spontaneous.
wow.
And I'm also going to be working with a very, very cool dancer who I think is going to be dancing with her child, her baby. And so I'm looking forward to sharing that with my kids and grandkids November 11th. I'm going to be in the little local town hall here and do all that.
That's fabulous. Goodness.
Well, listen, give my best regards to all the people up there, Carolyn, Nancy, everybody. And, I hope sometime all of you guys get together and play music together.
Yes, it's true. That would be the best.
Because
Yes.
I know the kids got a lot out of the fact that we came in as a group and played music as a group with them. You know what I mean? They understood that dynamic.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's something you need to do on your own and with others. You need to cultivate that.
But with the kids that could only work on their own, who were too disturbed, we were always hoping to get them relaxed enough so they could join the group. Because that's where the real healing comes in, when they're watching what other kids are doing and seeing how they push themselves to get to some lovely point.
Isn't that true? You,
Okay, good.
wow.
So we'll be in touch. I'm
Oh,
looking forward to see what comes out of all of this.
yes, me too. Thanks again, Michael.
Have a great time in France, and yeah,
Great.
I lived there 9 years.
Wow, did you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Okay.
I'll be
I
in
will,
touch.
I'm going to press the stop button now.
Okay.
Ready? Okay, here
All
we go.
right. Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Until what?